You are now tuned in to Hustle Her Way, the podcast, a weekly podcast that celebrates and empowers the ambition of women who are rewriting the rules, breaking barriers, and making their mark in the world. I'm your host, KT, and I'm thrilled to have you guys along on this exciting journey. In a world where opportunities for women are expanding every day, Hustle Her Way, the podcast, is now your go-to destination to find inspiration, motivation, and great advice from extraordinary women as myself and other guests that we will have on this podcast who have paved their own paths to success. I believe that every woman has a unique story to tell, and here we're going to uncover the triumphs, challenges, and lessons learned for some of the most remarkable female entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators across various industries. Every week we will have either a solo episode or an interview that encaps what a hustle her way mindset looks like and what you can do to find your own hustle. Thanks for staying tuned, and let's get right on into the show. And welcome back to Hustle Her Way, the podcast. Thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you for coming back each week to hear my crazy little antics about entrepreneurship, business, life, and anything you could think of a woman basically goes through, and actually how to hustle her way. So as you guys know, the last episode I talked about basically how your past should not define your future, and hopefully I gave you guys some great tips and just inspiration about how to move and get through life without thinking about that your past has come back to haunt you in your future. So today's episode is basically going to be about burnout. We're going to talk about, what burnout is, what it looks like. I'm going to tell you guys my story with burnout and how I kind of found out the signs a little bit too late, but nevertheless, we're going to talk about it today because I feel like this is a very important conversation when we talk about burnout, because a lot of people feel like they're not in burnout, but in actuality you are. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And also, y'all, thank you for rating and reviewing the podcast. So wherever you listen to your podcast, don't forget to go and rate, comment, leave us a great rating so other women can find this podcast that really needs to hear, some of the gems that I'm putting down. So we actually have one new comment. So thank you for the person who left a 5-star rating. The comment is as follows: Hustle Her Way, the podcast is a great way and great listen. KT really dropped some great information about what's going on and how it relates to her life. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And like I said, this podcast isn't just for me. I know a lot of people podcast just to let things out, but I really want this to be a resource for you all too, in a way that you can express your feelings and also know that there are other women going through the same thing as you and you're not alone, and we could build a nice little community over here. So yay to us. Again, do not forget to go rate our podcast on wherever you listen to your podcast. So Apple, Spotify, go rate and review the podcast so we can get more people into our community and get some of this great information. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get straight on into the podcast episode. So as I told you guys, burnout is really real. Like, I didn't realize how bad burnout could be and the potential of it all, but we as people, just especially women, we take on so many tasks and encompass it with imposter syndrome. That can wear us out, and we try to keep pushing, we try to keep going on because we know we have to show up where we've already shown up. But we also have to realize that sometimes we have to take a step back and understand, listen to our bodies, and figure out what's really wrong with us. So You know, it wouldn't be me if I didn't have some definitions and things to give you guys. So the textbook definition of burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. Did anybody else feel like their toes had got stumped on? Because I think I stumped on my own toes. But nevertheless, burnout is something that I feel especially career-driven women go through very much, because you're trying to show up and you're trying to do all the things. I was literally just talking to somebody the other day, and you know, I talked about I found myself doing a lot of things, and whether that was to prove that I could do it, or if it was something that, you know, I had my mindset on passion to help out. Nevertheless, it was getting to be too much, and I really found that out later than what I should have, and it really affected me. The story really goes back to last year. So well, I would say technically not even last year. Well, no, it was last year. So it hit around maybe the 6th month of me being in my position, and I was trying to show up and do all of the things. I was stretching myself too thin. I still was trying to get my business back, so I'm just like, okay, maybe I can finally do that. I was doing contract work before, you know, some people started booking again with my business. I'm doing contract work. I am on call, available. Anytime somebody call, I'm going out. You know, reading my emails. You know, even on the weekends I was working. So I just got to the point that I just couldn't do it anymore. I was showing up so much for my job. I was showing up because, again, imposter syndrome played a part, because I feel like I wasn't supposed to be there. Even though I had all this great experience, the know-how, everything, and they chose me for that, I still felt like, because I was playing into other people's projections, that I wasn't supposed to be at this job. You know, what did she know? And I was working overtime to prove just that I was supposed to be there. So it was right around, I would say, my birthday came up, and I was like, I'm just exhausted. And I would keep saying it, like, I'm just so tired. I can't do it. I can't even put into words why I'm tired. I just know I'm tired. And I started going to therapy, and I really realized that I was experiencing burnout. So just for you guys to listen and understand how you can identify burnout, especially when it first hits, so you can be able to, you know, combat it as easily. Some of the signs of burnout is the sense of failure and self-doubt, feeling helpless, trapped, and defeated, detached, feeling alone in the world, loss of motivation, increasingly a negative outlook on life, and decreased satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. And I can tell you, I was literally going through all those signs and never understood what it was. I started thinking, you know, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. And, you know, even little things that used to bring me joy wasn't bringing me joy anymore. I just felt like I wasn't good enough. And I just keep pushing myself to keep going when I didn't have anything left in me. And it wasn't until I went to therapy and talked to a therapist. I use BetterHelp. This is not a shameless plug. I'm not getting paid to say this, but BetterHelp really has a lot of great options of finding a therapist that fits you and fits your outlook, and it fits, you know, who you are as a person. And just speaking with her about what was going on, and she was like, you're burnt out. And I've never heard that before. I was just like, girl, bye, I'm not burnt out. Like, I might be a little tired, but we can still keep going. And she was right. Like, if I kept going on the route that I was going on, I was going to exhaust myself to the point that I might have ended up in the hospital. That's how bad it had gotten. And just emotionally, I didn't feel stable. My moods were up and down. I can tell, like, I didn't want to be bothered with people because I'm just like, I don't even want to talk to nobody. So it was really not understanding it, and then I didn't like what I was seeing in the mirror because I didn't know who that person was that was, you know, doing all this stuff. Like, most people know I'm mostly a friendly person. We're gonna say mostly because that's just me, but I'm always, I won't say as bubbly, but I didn't even want to be around people. Like, my sister would tell you, I didn't even want to be around her and my family. I would be in my apartment just holed up, just looking at the wall, because that felt like the most relaxing thing to do. And I just had to make a decision, like, you have to slow down. So what did I do? I stopped doing a lot of contract jobs. Even though that's great income coming in, I just couldn't do it anymore. I was pulling back from, you know, being so accessible at work. A lot of people didn't like that, and that was fine because I shouldn't have been that accessible. Even though the job that I have is a very important job, I should not be that accessible. So I started to pull back from work. I started to, you know, really spend time to figure out what Kiera wanted and what I wanted to do with my life, and understand how that translated into my business and in my job. So I really encourage you, if you're on the season of burnout, if you feel like you're exhibiting some of these signs, please, y'all, I really mean please take the time to listen to yourself, because you're only going to hurt yourself. You're only going to, you know, not be able to do as well as you think you are, or be that superstar person that I know you guys are. But just know that things are going to come. You know, I literally had to start telling myself affirmations in the morning because it had gotten so bad that I was just in my head all the time, doubting myself. And I literally had to just look in the mirror and be like, you're amazing. Like, the experience you have, no one else has it, regardless of, you know, someone might be better than you. Okay, but they still haven't been what I've been through. They still don't have what I know. They still can't do what I do. So really just taking that time to love on yourself. I kid you not, when you're exhibiting burnout, loving yourself is going to be one of the greatest adversaries for burnout. Because when you're burnt out, you're not believing that this is you. You're self-doubting yourself. You don't believe in yourself. And just having that opportunity just to even say just a few great words to yourself, it makes all the difference. So I also want to tell you guys some ways of how to deal with burnout, and I can tell you that these are some of the things that I implemented to actually help out with burnout, and to see exactly, you know, how I was gonna combat this thing. So some ways on how to deal with burnout is, first, we got to reframe your mindset. We got to rewire what's going on, because you living in self-doubt is not what we're supposed to be doing. You got to think about what's the bigger picture, what is going to serve you. And then also just think about your purpose. Like, I think about, you know, why God put me on this earth and what is my true purpose a lot, all the time, to help deal with the burnout. Because I feel like when I connect it to a bigger thing than me, a bigger mindset, a bigger purpose, I can understand how some of these things might not connect with my purpose, and I can go about trying to figure out how to rewire that. How does this look? Can I do it this way? So really reshaping your mindset is the first thing you should do when you're exhibiting burnout. Other things is talk to someone. If therapy is not for you, find a trusted friend, colleague, family member, friend, I don't care who it is, but to find somebody to talk to. Even if you don't talk to someone, talk to your journal if you're a journaler, because you have to get those feelings out. You have to get those feelings on paper. You have to get those feelings out of your head, because you can't deal with the burnout and the reason why you burn out if you're still feeling all of those things inside. You keep feeling the negative outlook. You keep feeling like you're defeated. You have to get all those emotions out. So I suggest you guys talk to someone. Also, set boundaries. I did that a lot at work. Okay, yeah, I know I'm supposed to be on call, but on this hour and this hour, you can't call me. Point blank period. Because I wasn't going to keep running myself into the ground for anything. As much as I love my job, as much as I love what I'm doing, I can't give 110% to something else when I'm not giving it to myself. So really setting boundaries with my team, setting boundaries with my people, it was just a lot of boundaries had to be set. I ended up quitting a lot of my nonprofit work and volunteer work because it just didn't fit the picture anymore, and I had to set those boundaries because I had to know what I could allow, what things could happen, and things of that nature. I had to set those boundaries. And the last thing I want to talk about is self-care. Again, finding ways to love on yourself is so important. So just like I said, just having those affirmations and having just this great talk with yourself on what you should be doing and how you should feel and things of that nature is always going to be so important. So guys, that is all I have for Burnout today. As always, if you're watching this on KT the Publicist, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share this with another woman who you feel that needs to learn the hustle her way mindset. And then also, if you're listening to wherever you listen to your podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and rate the podcast. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.